Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of How to Do Psychedelics, the podcast where we talk about the adventures and misadventures of those who live and work and play in the world of psychedelics, plant medicine, and transformational experiences. Today, we have Jonathan Mozenter, who is a visionary transformation guide, author, and expert in altered states of consciousness. With over a decade of deep training in Vajrayana Buddhism, energy work, and somatic healing, Jonathan weaves together psychedelics, spirituality, and cutting-edge systems like human design and the gene keys to help people unlock their highest potential. He's the creator of Energy Unleashed, a 12-week course for mastering energy in altered states for lasting transformation. Jonathan is currently writing his first book, Psychedelic Jesus, exploring the intersection of sacred plant medicine, archetypal awakening, and embodied enlightenment. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Anker. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that opening bio there?
We are the solution. I believe in us 100%. I feel like optimism is one of the key ingredients that I've learned through some of my teachings, including psychedelics, as one of the keys to making the world, the new earth, the peace on earth, is to being it.
Yeah. That state of having, of being, is how we call in what it is we are here to do and to be. And we are the ones we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
I also want to add that Jonathan is a member of the mountain community I live in here in Costa Rica, and specifically has been a regular member of the men's circles that I hold here weekly at my home. And it's really been a joy to get to know him, to learn what he does. And it's always a special joy to have someone on the podcast who's in this amazing community. And so, Jonathan, as we open each of these podcasts, I'd like to start with you sharing your most meaningful, significant, potent experience with a psychedelic or plant medicine that has shaped the man that we see before us today.
Okay. I'm getting to share a recent one. Just context, I'm a very advanced psychonaut who started off with really deep meditation practice, Vajrayana Buddhism, before I started getting into DMT. And so I'm going to start with Iboga. One I did my first flood dose back in November with a shaman. And why am I picking that one? First off, it's a really different one. I don't know if a lot of people have done that one. A lot of people talk about ayahuasca, but I don't think as many people have had deep Iboga experiences. And I want to explain for people, Iboga is totally different than ayahuasca. It's
definitely a bit edgier. Yeah.
It's way longer, like way longer. It's a couple days, and the hallucinations are way more. They're other level. They can be other level. Like I literally saw people next to me that looked real that I knew were holographic projections from my mind, which was wild.
I mean, they say it's deeply ancestral in onirigen medicine. Like people who are psycho-spiritually well, who aren't going for it to heal from deep addictions, like how it's very technically applied for those with that.
Yeah, I want to talk about addictions.
Brings you to the dream time. So, like, why did you choose Iboga? What was your
Thanks for asking that question. It came to me through intuition. I was a masculine man. Let me just take you back in time to 2010. I'm 39-year-old kid, 30-year-old man, whatever. I think of myself as a kid because I've grown so much in the last 15 years. Believe it or not, I'm 54 now. But I was, as a kid, 39, I was sitting there thinking, why can't I make my dreams come true? Like, I'm working really hard at it. I'm doing all right. So I'm not like a failure or anything, but I'm here to have deep love and have an entrepreneurial job I love. And I'm at this place where I'm in a lot of serial dating, short-term relationships, and I'm in a job that's okay. I'm a government organizational development consultant. Parts of it are good. Parts of it are like, boring. And I just know that I'm here to be a creative in that domain, and I can't get out of my own way. I'm in therapy. I'm doing, I got organizational development techniques. Anyways, and I just said to the universe, I'll do whatever it takes. As 39, that's my what I call the enough this moment. I think for people who are really into transformation, which I think a lot of people into psychedelics, are. I think that's a good place to be, is having this deep commitment that you're going to change no matter what. Like that's the hard driver. Like that masculine, like I'm doing it. Enough is enough. Led me to the Buddhist practice, which started me getting out of my own head. Like started getting operating beyond defense patterns. Maybe I should slow down a little, but like I was realizing what was going on in my own mind, and it showed me how to pause that thinking, and that there was another voice that came on board that was like beyond the continuous monkey mind. And that was like the big shift. And eventually, after doing that practice for like 5 years, it said, okay, Jonathan, you should try ayahuasca. Right. And eventually, many years later, it led to iboga.
So it was this
Trying to
sort of
drop into
relation,
where, say
like
again.
it was this connection that you made with spirit through your Buddhism practice, which has been your guide
Yeah.
into these experiences with psychedelics. Like I hear you
Yes.
say, okay, my life is this, it's going great, I'm getting my needs met, but like something feels like there's more for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
It's not like it was your choice, it was a calling.
It was
Is
a
that
calling, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Well, what happened was that energy that kind of jumped in. You know, he had different ideas about life, and he's like he had to teach. It was like the higher self was teaching the lower self about things I had nothing about. It was like a giant educational ceremony of many years. You know, many teachers. I know we're planning to talk about mentors, but I started watching different teachers came in, and mentors, like lots of teachers, but also like videos or people I get like influencers I get into for a little bit of while.
Mhm.
Sometimes someone actually be a teacher. I don't know, women have been amazing teachers for me, and brothers and soul brothers too. Like, but intimate relationships, you know, people you got deep connected to. Sometimes
Yeah.
someone comes in as a synchronicity just to tell you about something or someone, connect you to someone else. But sometimes the experiences you have together awakening. And I bring that up with psychedelics too, because psychedelics is kind of another kind of relationship. And so it this really connects, as Ayahuasca experiences connects to why I chose Buddhism in the first place, is because I was ADD. I had this understanding that when I was hyper focused, I'd crush it, but then I was very rarely hyper focused. So the question was, how do I get more hyper focused? And I thought it was about concentration meditation, but it turned out it was different. It turned out this Buddhism said, like, you actually need to bring a new energy, an energetic, to your current way of being to see it differently. And that's
And
one of
is
the
that
things
what
that's like,
happened for you with the iboga? Like
yes,
what happened
absolutely,
for you?
yes. Both the meditation and the ayahuasca, all the psychedelics help me see something new. So let me get into the iboga experience. Let's drop it in deeply. I had a request for my monkey mind to uh, slow down, and so I could just operate from this calm part of me. So I had to figure out what it's about. So the way Ayaboga works is that was my intention, is to drop in to what the Buddhists call awakened awareness, which is this calm state of stillness, and see the perfection that's always right here. And as a practice, no matter how hairy it gets, you can always go back to that as a baseline. So
Hmm.
the goal is actually to allow yourself to get into the really dark stuff with the knowing that you could always go back to this awakened state,
Yeah.
because you have it so drilled in as your first thing. So it's like a safety measure. I know you wanted to talk about psychedelics and safety. This is one thing I want to bring it up, is this Buddhist technique for me, personal, because of the practice, the way they structure it, it allowed me to be with chaos, which psychedelics can bring. You know, can bring a lot of novelty and creativity. It doesn't have to be chaotic, but it can bring and still stay calm. And that's connects to my course that I offer, because I train these techniques. But let me get into the Ayaboga story. So
Yeah. So
um,
you realized you had ADD. You had
yeah,
this guy that came into your life through Buddhism,
right,
driving you to this experience that you felt like going to support you with like the slowing down, with being
yes,
with this energy of your guide. And then you mentioned seeing different things that were there, beings, maybe
yeah,
ancestors, maybe guides, and like then what? Yeah, what unfolded from there? What changed after that?
yeah. Yeah, what changed was I had like a near death experience that
Mm.
changed my life. And I'll just break it down to you like this. I knew, you know how, like, imagine your mom, you're about to cross the street, you're like 2, and you're like, I just want to see what's on the other side, and your mom just grabs your arms like, hey, little Jonathan, like don't cross the street. Always think before you move, right?
Mm-hmm. Discernment.
And so now this is deep in my brain. I gotta think before I act. But so what I learned through this technique, the Buddhist, is that I can be the guy here, but I can also be bigger than that. My light is so big now that I can be more than just local Jonathan, and so that it allows for more things that are possible. This technique allows more synchronicity, and so there's a defensive part that always wants to double and triple check things in the mind that I learned I wanted to give to the witness, the self, the bigger energy, to take the best parts of the defense pattern and give it to the part that's primordial, always right here, and take off some of the automatic defensive part reactions. And so I could continue in this calm state, because what I realized is some of these defensive parts was really like a panicky part. It was like, oh my God, does this remind me of the situation where Jonathan had his worst experience ever that we got to defend him against? And so I'm trying to chill those guys out. And so what the Iboga did, it gave me a bunch of experiences where it showed me the things that I was most scared of. And it was like, hey, Jonathan, can you just be with this without freaking out? Like this thought. So
And what was that thought? Like, was there a specific memory
yeah,
that was
well, I
coming up
mean, by the
from you?
time I did it 2 more times, the biggest thought was um, are you a homosexual? And I realized that I got sexually assaulted when I was 6, and that thought put into my brain, and then I forgot about it, and then so while I'm going through it, I'm like, that experience put it in there, and my spirit is like, well, is it true? What is your objective thing? And I'm like, well, I'm not sexually attracted to men, so I am to certain female forms, so the data doesn't connect. So then it says like, okay, then you just have to be with the words I'm a homosexual over and over again until your defense pattern just knows it doesn't bother you anymore, and then it just evaporates, and then your whole nervous system relax. So actually in allowing that story to come up, that suppressed story to come up, and then to actually just be with it, actually put me in my masculine.
And that's like
more
what we understand most about the way you and I practice parts work. It's like it's all about just being with these parts that have these fears and these stories. And I can only imagine that your practice with Buddhism before coming into these powerful experiences with ayahuasca and iboga allowed you to just like, okay, I'm just showing up fully here. And not only is it you, especially with the medicine and iboga, like you're with your ancestors, you're with spirit.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful, just like team, legion of allies that so many of us are not tapping into. And so you mentioned the near-death experience. Where did that come into it?
Yeah, great question. So, so there was the teacher comes in, not the teacher, well, the guide of this guy, great guy, James, in Costa Rica. Anyways, he said, Jonathan, do you want another dose? He's like, usually with iboga, I give people whatever, like 8 to 10, like the pure stuff. Like, I don't know. And then he's like, usually within 90 minutes, people take another dose. He says, this is what most people do. I was gone like right after 30 minutes because I'm very sensitive, and I was just resolving problems. So basically, imagine me sitting on a bed. There's like my head is like hurting. I can barely walk, but I'm just on all my biggest problems, and I'm just coming up with new solutions over and over again. So
he's like, do you want more of this?
Yeah, he's like, do you want more? So I'm like, it's going pretty good, dude. Like, I'm crushing it in every second. Like, I'm getting this new pith instruction, like automatic body. So instead of thinking twice, you know enough wisdom about the nature of reality that you can just ascend. You can be in your body and let the body and the wisdom of the body, the wisdom of the soul. Because to me, the wisdom of the body doesn't mean I'm just here. It's I'm everything. I can be life. That's be the field of awareness. And so I'm getting to share this important point. So he comes over to me. He's like, Jonathan, you've been waffling back and forth, asking a lot of questions. It's getting late for me. Like if you take another dose late, you're gonna be up like 3 days. I gotta sleep at some point in time. So he's like, I know you paid a good amount of money to babysit during your iboga, but I'm being the father figure here now. You got to choose or not. So this is the moment. So he's like, I go, I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it. So like some part of me is like wants to know what's on the other side. But you can have a heart attack on Iboga. I had to have my heart rate monitor,
Oh,
my blood pressure
yeah.
tested, which I was fine. So as soon as he walks away, and it's like 222 here on my count on my thing, so we're having a synchronicity moment. I like as soon as he walked away to go get the medicine, I literally had this vision of boom, blackout, and then bright light. And then I was like looking down and I was dead, super dead. And
You were
so some
seeing
part of me was,
yourself from a different point of view.
yeah, I saw myself from another point of view, a vision of this happening. And I was like, oh shit, if I take the psychedelic, is it going to give me this vision or is it going to tell me it's going to kill me? And I was like, oh shit. I was like, first off, I definitely don't want to die. And that's one of the things you do with the weedy thing is you claim life. You claim like you're going to be your best version of yourself. So I not only claim that, but I also like really love life and I'm excited to give my gift. So I don't know, it's the last thing I want to do is come here and die. That would be embarrassing and shame. But something's like, do I need to be that kind of shame? And then I was imagining myself, even in a hallucination experience, it. And I was like, imagine just the sadness that was coming over me, even if I knew somebody was fake. It's like I can't even put myself through it. I was like,
Uh-huh.
I love myself too much even to do that to myself. And I just put my hands on my heart and I said, body, should I take this? And it just like, no, don't take the medicine. So I waved it off. So that's
Mm-hmm.
just the NDE kind of thing. So I didn't take it.
Ah,
But what I realized, and then some part of me says like, boom, as soon as I said that was like, we got it, because the body proved it knew how to do safety. Remember reversing the
yeah,
story of when my mom was holding my hand and said, always go the head. Now I got this intense real life or death situation that the Iboga helped set up with my soul. And here it is. It's like, got the picture. Good. The body knows how to do safety. So now all night long, I was changing safety codes only in the head. Like, hey, body, no safety. And like when
right.
you have the Iboga, you can see the new story that changes the protected parts.
What I'm noticing here, it's really fascinating, is that this guide came in with a real direct choice point. It's like, okay,
Yes.
you have to make a decision. I'm bringing the firm masculine, and
Yep.
you're like, okay. But moments later, you were gifted with this near-death experience,
Yep.
which, for those of you listening, generally near-death experiences are almost always highly correlated with massive transformation, right?
Mm.
And so in that moment, you assumed this really discerning, clear, confident, masculine figure, and you
Mm-hmm.
chose for yourself. And I
Yes.
imagine, what do you see as a connection between making that choice and that near-death experience? What was true for you afterward?
Um. Well, just that I can trust my feelings. That's been the whole quest. Is um. You're reversing a childhood trauma of when I was in the 5th grade. I was teased for crying as a boy, and I decided it was unsafe to trust my feelings. I
Mm-hmm.
got made fun of, and then my journey is to trust feelings because the feelings are a little bit faster than the mind. The mind's got to like go through options, and I still love the mind. I still like to do that kind of scenarios, but sometimes if you have this other button where you're like, oh, I'm in a tense situation, in front of I'm a facilitator, I'm working with somebody, where you need to make a quick choice. That instantaneous confidence in your feelings
Yeah.
is a big asset.
Mm-hmm.
Because I
And
think I
so,
think the leaders of the future are going to be super intelligent men and women who also have really advanced spiritual gifts,
mhm. And
working
speaking of
together,
that,
working
I'm
together.
curious to understand
Yeah,
because this clearly was a massive
yeah,
experience.
yeah.
Like
We can keep
when you
going with the
have a
Iboga thing.
near-death experience, there's a lot to quote unquote integrate, right?
Yes,
There's also other words for this. There's embodiment, there's
yes.
absorption. And you
Mm-hmm.
and I both know there are many ways to approach this. You can get
Mm-hmm.
support, coaching, counseling, guidance, and then there are your practices. So I'm curious to know
Mm-hmm.
what unfolded for you after the ceremony. What do you
Mm-hmm.
imagine was most helpful and beneficial for you to literally bring in this lesson, this part of you that said,
Mm-hmm.
this is for me. I choose this. I choose
Um,
life. This
yeah,
is
great
safe.
question.
Here's my body. I trust my feelings.
Well, for me, um, I transferred my trust in this pattern, what I call like a defensive parts of tendency to like go into my head and fight people, argue with people, or even argue with myself, to trusting that whatever's outside of me is the medicine. And so I was fortunate that the spirits had placed me on the property of a friend of ours, Wendy Mason, who's a psychedelic integrator. So I was lucky that I got to talk with her and her partner Ben about my experience. And then it shipped me to Chiripo about 3 weeks afterwards, where I got connected with your men's group, which is also an important part of the thing. So I think integration specialists have always been a part of my path. When I first started doing ayahuasca in 2016, I had two teachers who helped me with that, who both knew my personal practice, but also were experts in psychedelics. And now the way it's unfolding is I have a bunch of different people, a couple of different points. Like I think we had our first men's group, it ended up just being the two of us, and you gave me some parts work therapy that changed my life. Yeah, you remember that?
So what I'm hearing is you had your Buddhist practice.
Yeah,
you had support. You had really talented, experienced integration specialists, and you also felt guided to come here to the mountain.
Yes.
And there's something very archetypally powerful about that. Like the mountain is this structure, not just like a form, like a geological shape, but it's a place where people are called to go inward and to be with this ascension energy, because mountains move up. But most people here, as well as you know, we're hermits. And when people come here, and if they pass the test to be in this trying place, they go into a place of like humbling, like a being with themselves, learning the power of aloneness, not the same as loneliness. And they are able to reconcile and organize whatever energy brought them there. And I'm really stoked to hear and be reminded that one of the first experiences you had here, and it was part of what played through for your organization, integration, and absorption, was coming to the men's circle.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you'd be willing to share more about your experience with men's work in this phase.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I love about your space holding in the men's group is that it's a really powerful blend of masculine and feminine. And I think the group has this awesome architecture of these different archetypes that allow us to be with our inner warrior. Is there things to work out? But how can we do it in a loving way? How can we be compassionate? And then how we can alchemize with different people. Because I think the future is that men need to have a structure that they feel comfortable in that allows them to show things. Because I think in the old masculine, we were told, like, just as I was a kid, it's not okay to be with your feelings. We're supposed to be the stoic warriors. But I think the new masculine and information age is to be with information. So we want truth. Truth is to get all the access to the information. And I feel like that group, people were able to open up. Share things. We got into conflict. Some people shared some very vulnerable stuff. I know I had at least one time where I was the center of the circle. We took turns when you just felt it. Like there was every brother's got like a moment where they're like, "Oh, today it's my laundry to clean out," and it benefits everybody. Right. Yeah. But it helps everyone because it makes them feel comfortable, and sometimes seeing it in you is easier than seeing it in themselves. So it's a magic of group work.
Yeah, thank you for that acknowledgement. I find that to be the most potent aspect of the men's work, is simply to have a safe space to share the truth of what it is to be a man, to be this man.
Yes.
And that requires developing a certain articulation with feeling. It still amazes me, less and less over time, but how often in the opening round, the lover round, where men are invited to share what they're feeling. So many men still go to like, I think this, I think that. They share concepts and structures and frameworks. I'm like, cool. What's underneath that? Can you name an emotion, like a sensation, a feeling? And that's still some challenging work for a lot of men out there, even in these circles where we have a lot of experience. We have this willpower and guidance to do this deep work and to serve from a connection to God. And what it reminds me, Jonathan, is that, and it humbles me, that we're still very much in the early stages of all of this.
Yes.
And it's really exciting to see the pretty lights and to see the gods and the guides and the ancestors and to feel these like innate kind of like gifts come back online, our birthright. Like we've been this before,
Yes.
Something super special about it. It's really cool. And remember where we're at. We're just learning to share our feelings. We're learning to take care of each other. We're just building the foundations of the village. And that's great. It's exciting. But like so often like people they kind of go off and they're getting a little ahead of themselves, thinking they're gonna like take whatever insight they get from a ceremony and start shopping it out and making money off of it. And like I'm like, man, we just need to sit around the fire
Yeah.
and share our stories.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. Yeah, I think one of the things you're illuminating is transformation as a process of intimacy of self and other, and being with it, and that in itself is the medicine. And the thing that the psychedelics and these new structures do is they help us shake us out of like these old perspectives and allow us to just take some new perspectives. So I imagine a lot of the awakening is just what Robert Keegan would call make subject object, where we've always looked at it like this, and some energy comes in, boom, what if we take 3 or 4 other looks and see which one, maybe a mixture will work, who knows, when we do that as a species, I think, and we have that as a capacity at an individual level, I think peace and creativity will flourish over war and the need to dominate others. And so one of my gifts is to take the crazy complexity and like, how do we bake it down into some things that don't seem so, otherwise people are like, oh my God, it's impossible, we never done it before. I'm like, I don't know, just get some extra energy. We take some multiple perspectives, we get a couple protocols, that's it, we're done. Like it doesn't have to be, I feel like there's a lot of craziness. We have a lot of friends out there who's like freaking out over who's president or whatever. and like, it's like, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to, some people who are hyper aware of all the problems because of the internet, and I feel like that's making things worse. They're just like, oh, there are too many problems, that we're the meta crisis. I'm like, just chill out. It's just we have a lot of information overwhelm, so let's get calmer and get more organized. It doesn't have to be impossible. I think the word impossible puts people in panic, and panic people don't make good problem solvers.
Nope, you can't make decisions from a place of emotionality, and there's a lot of information and misinformation out there. It is a tidal wave of just like mutant mythology. It's not really true. And bringing curiosity to all of it is the true balm. Like, okay, there's that happening out there, but like you can contend with what's happening out there, those stories, these divisive narratives, you can contend with that and step up to that once you're clear on what your story is.
Yeah.
And that's one of the great gifts of doing this work. It like allows us a window into seeing what we truly are in like the transpersonal and the personal.
Yes.
And it gives us a way to bring levity to what's happening in the world. And
I was wondering if I could take 2 seconds to demystify the quote unquote mysterious Buddhist practice. I feel like that if I explained it in basic psychological terms, like in parts work, I think what people would understand, it's actually quite ingenious what they did. It's actually deceptively simple. Could I have a couple seconds to try that, explain that?
I mean, I love this because so many of these practices are coming in from our ancient lineages and traditions, and it helps people understand the import of them, like why they're here. And so if you want to bridge that for us, excellent. I know this is a wellspring from where some of your gifts come from.
Yeah, thanks for allowing me to do that. It's based on just truth. Let's just say what the Buddhists discovered, or Vajrayana Buddhism, saying they call something called the Heart Sutra. The Heart Sutra is this understanding of emptiness. But what are they really saying? It sounds like there could be profound wisdom there, and there is. But really, what it's saying is when I go to see the world, it's a mixture of me and everything I've been taught, learned, anything that's kind of come from my past, and what's happening out here in those energies. Like, all that energy comes together, what they call interdependent origination. Just means the inner and the outer, boom, and they create an experience. So my truth is true given this, but it's also partial, because when you're looking at it, you're bringing in other stuff, right? So everyone has true but partial wisdom. So the sharper discernment comes in is, are there patterns that we can see when we kind of pull back? We don't take our truth so personally. We get a little, make it an object. Then when you and I are creating, we can, take it so personally. So basically, the emptiness means is we don't take our truth too personally. So it's empty. Like whatever I think is true is a maybe. It's like the humility, right? Bringing in humility. So every moment, I have trained my mind. This is like the result of it. There's sub practices of it too. Is whatever I say, whatever you do, it's like, all right, we're just having an experience. Like I might get excited or less excited, but there's some sort of calmness to it that keeps me out of panic and keeps me in presence. It's like whatever Anker's saying is perfect for who he is, and whatever Jonathan's saying is perfect for who he is, and then this experience is the perfect of these two things. So this idea of everything's perfect doesn't mean it's like the highest order expression, but it is the highest order expression that was possible, because nothing can happen outside of me and you just being ourselves.
What I really find fascinating about this, what I'm curious about, is like this connection you made between the heart, through the Heart Sutra, and like emptiness. And I imagine most people would equate the heart to something that's full of life, full of vitality, full of love. But there's something really potent about emptiness.
Yeah.
Like I want to expand a bit more on this. So one thing I learned through this idea of Gene Key 13, the city, is empathy. People all think empathy is about, oh, I'm empathic. I can feel what people are feeling. That's not empathy. That's sympathy.
Right.
Empathy is like a acidic state. Empathy is the near-death experience. Empathy is that Gnostic knowing that we are all one, literally feeling somebody else. And it's emptiness. It's void. It also reminds me of this practice that I often bring into IFS, and maybe you do something similar with your parts work, is that when we encounter parts that are holding pain, that are holding these deep core wound burdens, wherever they show up in the body, one great way I've found to close these sessions is to invite these parts into the heart. And as I invite those I'm working with to do that, I help them understand the heart is infinite. It can hold everything, because it is pure space and stillness.
So yeah, emptiness is about to be with all the perspectives of life. It can be with everything because it knows the truth. So emptiness and fullness are the same. It allows you to immediately empty out an old perspective and get full with a new one, and then you can keep doing that process. It keeps life fresh. The emptiness enables the fullness of life. How does non-existence become infinity? Through emptiness.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get it. If you get attached to the one thing, eventually it's going to bore the shit out of you, and you're going to want to die of that and come something new. So that's life. Life and death are the same thing. Saying like you want to keep dying so you can keep living.
Yeah.
Dying mean like you don't want to be frozen in one position forever.
No.
Even if you're frozen, like some part of you that's counting the ticks of the experience of being frozen is still moving. So something's always moving, right? This is the nature of truth.
That kind of like, to me, it hints at this idea of like non-duality. I know you're big into non-duality, and so is Christopher. And for some reason, it's something that always kind of like triggers me.
What does it mean to you?
Well, that all is one, and I get that. I felt that. I've had those experiences of stillness and like the space of oneness. But it almost feels to me, it's like, I get it. And whenever someone brings up this idea of non-duality, like, oh, well, space is fullness and fullness is space and life is death, I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, why is that? How is that helpful beyond being a reminder? It's like oftentimes when I feel people going into a space of non-duality, it almost feels to me like an escape from contending with the fact that we are in a dualized form, attempting to understand something. And I get it. It can bring levity.
They're both at the same time. The non-duals is like, I see like you're a node of conscious, I'm a node. We're separate, but the energy is being sent back to you, and then it's being processed in a way that's based on who you are, and it's coming to me, and then whoever's watching this, and this is just like a bunch of mirrors sending information. But that's when I think of wholeness, and I pull all the way back. That's what I see life as. It's like there's like one bigger mirror seeing all the energy interactions of all these little mirrors. So maybe that's my visualization of it. It's like a much bigger picture. It includes duality. Non-duality and duality are the same. You cannot have a non-dual experience unless you're in a dual state.
yeah, you can't perceive it unless you're in a dual state. And for
Yeah,
me,
I mean, if you
that's the
understand
value of,
basics physics, right? You need
yeah.
two to have an experience.
It's for me, that's what I see as the value of understanding duality versus non-duality. Like, yes, when you are experiencing something that
Hmm.
approximates a non-dual state, it brings more texture and understanding to the dual state. But it's like you can't practice non-duality in a dual state. And so most of the time people are bringing it up. It's a conversation about duality. And it's like,
Well,
okay, well, I guess if we're going to practice non-duality, let's just stop and meditate and do our best to go somewhere and come back and share what we've experienced. Because like you can't really talk about it.
sure you can. I
I mean, you
mean,
can talk about it, but like you can't
well,
name it.
well, what if non-duality, meaning like let's say there's a perspective, there's Jonathan's perspective, there's Anker's perspective, and then we imagine a dot in between us that wants to talk, and we both embody that thing. What would it say? It's like being like a third node.
Okay, I get
So
that.
when I did that, I got a different energetic, and I got something to bring in some element of appreciating the masculine ability to take multiple perspectives on the feminine in her multiple forms as a form of beauty. And I was just viewing, I don't
Hmm.
know, when I see that, I kind of feel like somehow just one of the things that we were also talking about before the call was about unity and having expertise in unity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like there's a non-dualness in there because it's more than just you and I. We want to create a set of protocols and networks such that people can have a grounded understanding of the process of growth and development and psychedelics and parts work and other things, great tools we have within
Yeah.
that landscape to make humans flourish. So like we could say this aspiration has more than just the individuals. It's like a non-dual truth. So I think that's one way to think about it. I think what I could be wrong, but I think some people who think non-duality can't be um, used. It's maybe they don't have. There might be different ways of using that term that can
I
open things
mean,
up.
what's coming up for me as you say that is what I mentioned before in our
Yeah.
conversation. Like, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
I'm taking the first steps to assemble a
Yes.
team to offer something, but what is guiding me is something
Yeah.
that is non-dual. What is guiding me
Yes.
is a vision that's connected to God, which I
Yes.
touch into at times, but like I have faith in and I believe in that, and so that's a point out there. I'm also
Yes.
imagining this practice that you mentioned
I
in your
love that.
Iboga ceremony, where
Yeah.
you like had to go through this mantra of like saying, "I'm a homosexual. I'm a homosexual." That's also a practice in non-duality. It's like you're accepting the fact that you are all these things, and
Yeah,
once you
that
like
I have gone through that thought practice too. If I'm everyone, then I'm everyone. I'm a tranny, I'm a homosexual, I'm a lesbian, I'm a gay, I'm straight. Like I'm everyone.
and the
So,
fascinating thing about that is
which is
you
true.
accepting that made you more whole. It made you more the unique dual node of consciousness that you
Yeah.
are.
By accepting that I could be any of it was I don't know. Actually, I want to bring this up because I actually would love to hear your take on this because I actually think this idea of becoming souled, I call myself a soul mentor, is to
Mm,
disintegrate all your parts and then you're like, okay, I'm just the field of awareness. Now, given what you understand about who you actually are, like in the 3D, and you can like Mr. Potato Head, you can put like you can actually improve yourself in the right way. What do you choose? So I was like, I feel like I got to this disintegration point on Iboga where it says, okay, Jonathan, you could be anything. Who are you? You know, are you straight? Are you a womanizer? Are you
huh?
monogamous? Are you gay? Are you tranny? Like pick down the basics. I'm like, I'm a straight monogamous man. I believe in deep love is my highest aspiration. And I claim that as a
That
core
recreated you.
Jonathan. Was that?
Yeah, that got to recreate you.
Yeah, that with the whole psychedelic transformation periods that Ayaboga was like an explanation on. I got this like lightning bolt experience from. I had this vision during my Ayaboga experience. I'll never forget it. It was like God was like looking at all the numbers, like the odd numbers, the individual numbers, the unique numbers. Why am I forgetting that word? Um, but and I was like
Angel
searching.
numbers,
Was that?
not angel numbers. I'm just fucking
Well,
with you.
angel numbers no, but the numbers that like you can't
Fine.
divide anything else into it.
Prime numbers, right?
Yeah, prime numbers. Thank you.
Ah,
He was coming to the prime numbers. This is the vision, and all of a sudden he called it God. This is just me in an Iboga vision having this vision. I'm not saying. And so I got this lightning bolt. God like saw the sensitive number. He's like, Jonathan, the sensitive number is the most important number. It's the organizing point for the divine play. And the message was like, tell everyone what your psychedelic experience, where this guy says, I want my whole play is to be organized happy journeys for the souls. Happy journeys is the goal of life. And
yeah.
so that was in my, and so said, come back, and your rest of your life is helping each soul come to a place where they can both be happy themselves as long as they're non-violent to the other souls. And starting with physical violence and consent, obviously, with sexual stuff. But yeah, like my purpose is to talk about that and to show how energy work, psychedelics, good process, parts work, help us create a landscape where we can get out of this masculine aggression to this dialogic expression, and then we go from a species who's like, might is right, versus like, hey, I just want to help my soul brothers be more creative and fun just like me, because I know they're the same expression, and I know that world is possible, and I know you and I and other souls are here to help catalyze that to the next level.
So what do you ask me to provide a take on? Soul?
Was I supposed to ask you a take on
Yeah, you wanted my take on something there.
Oh shit.
Where'd you
Well,
go?
I don't remember what part it was. I'll come to it right now. Well, I feel like the key, and I want to, because we talk about masculine spirituality. So I want to get your take on masculine and feminine and magical collaboration. I feel like that's it. I think men and women both need to raise their inner masculine and their imminent feminine together in community, and that's what I'm feeling a vision for, and I feel seeking, calling in other soul brothers and sisters who want to create this village of, kind-hearted but intelligent souls with high integrity, and using the best practices in all domains in an integrally formed way, so that we can live in this utopian society that I think is right around the corner.
Oh man, well, that's a loaded question.
Okay.
So I'm just going to start by saying
start
that,
with masculine and feminine.
yeah, it's a spectrum.
Yes.
Right. This is what the whole domain of polarity is about. So masculinity and femininity exist in all things. And I like to look at them as reduced to archetypal natural forces of chaos and order. Chaos is the feminine, order is the masculine. And this is why in my tradition in the Norse, like the sun is feminine. That's chaos. That's life. That's death. That's all of it.
Shining light and all the nuance of life,
Yeah, but like fire is creation and destruction. That's what chaos is. That's what the feminine does. They give birth and they take life too if they want. The moon is masculine because that penetrates and it shines light into the darkness. It creates order. And order is necessary at certain levels and systems and structures for the chaos, for the feminine to simply be. Women are energetic creatures, but they need to feel safe in their environment to thrive. And so where we're at right now, it's a really interesting time to talk about masculinity and femininity, because the divisive narratives and powers that be are trying to really divide us at the very level of identity itself. And this is why we have so many people who are confused about who they are.
Yeah.
Why they have people who believe that men can have babies. Like male and female are biological directives. You either have a cock and you can give a seed to create life in a female body, but a female can be really masculine and a male can be very feminine. It's so what I'm noticing around this right now is we're coming into an age, and this is coming from a lot of work I've done in men's work with my teachers here. We're coming out of an age where men have been highly effeminized, and rightly so, because women have been perpetrated by overly toxic masculine. Now, I don't use that word a lot, but toxic masculine, that's the thing, is there's toxic traits, but there are male adults who have been in charge, who aren't men, male adults who've been perpetrating marginalized peoples, including women, for a very long time. And this has really pissed them off. And so they feel like in order to be safe, they have to climb this ladder of bastardized masculine energy to compete with us in the same spaces. And so we have, especially these communities, many females who have a lot more masculine energy than they even want to carry. And some of them aren't even aware that they don't want it. And so what's happening in the men's circles, as you've noted in your own work, getting more in touch with your feelings, we are learning to bring on more of our feminine side so we can actually start to deprogram this tyrannical, bully, adult male energy that's not mature. We can start dispelling that to hold clear and safe space, starting first with ourselves, with our brothers, and then we practice it in relationship. And so that's going to help the males and females in the world to come into a regulated point where their soul wants to be on the spectrum of masculinity and femininity. And it's not fixed, but our incarnation has somewhere some like upper and lower limit where we are most comfortable. And this is affected by all the things, like the cycles of the moon and the sun and the time of day and the person that we're with or in relationship with. And so I agree. That's a big part of the work that we're doing. And it comes back to this idea we're working with the fundamentals right now. It's excellent to be accessing support from spirit, animal guides, land guides, ancestors, and having our gifts come back online. But where we need to practice that right now is as men, as women, as contributors to a movement of recreating the safety of the village dynamic once again, where we are indivisible. And so if you're good with yourself, you're good with your brothers or sisters, you're good in relationship, and then you can create a strong, stable family that doesn't divide. And then from there, strong communities that don't divide. And there you start to build alliances and you can start solving the problems of the world and using these tools all in a good way. That's where we're at.
Can I make a comment about masculine and feminine from the Vajrayana Buddhism perspective?
Please. This is what you are here to bring.
Yeah. So the masculine in this perspective, or one aspect of it, but is this idea of all of us, no matter whether you're a man or woman, that is to imagine like information is coming from the five senses, and your intuition and imagination is coming to like a screen that we call consciousness or ether, right? So imagine, can you find the space, the lucid, clear space? It's almost like the screen on your phone before there's any picture. And then imagine all the information comes in and it forms the picture that is your life. And so the Buddhist tool is to break those. Is that?
You're booting up.
The booting up, yeah. So the goal is to practice. I have a practice, or I still have a practice. It's my way of knowing. My primary being is actually the screen, because that never changes. It doesn't matter if I'm sleeping or awake or if I'm in the bardo. The screen's always there. It's showing me what it's showing me. And also the witness is there. So when I think masculine Jonathan, I know the witness in the screen is my masculine. And that's the same thing for a woman. They have a screen and a witness also. And then the feminine's all the parts, the images, the colors, the mind, the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations, the experiences.
The chaos.
And when you, was that the women? Was that?
The entropy, the chaos.
The chaos, yes, the feminine chaos. And when you give, the first thing is you just give the witness in the field all this really positive, creative, grateful energy. You put these qualities on it and you scrape off the trauma parts, and you just do that as a healing. And that's it. The peoples can do the rest of their life will be fun. And if we had that as a norm at the core of the species, it's just that we all have some stains from trauma from way back, lineage wounds, just like you said, caveman stuff, when we didn't know how to get food for ourselves. Some part of our each of our reptilian psyches, man or women, is still panicking for food. If we can chop that guy, we could just kind of cut him off, psychic surgery, and we put him on, hey, robots, we got them. They're working for us. We got AI. It's going to be easy from now on. We need to go through that part. We need to have that alignment, and then we're free. We need to get best practices in all the domains at once. That's how I see it. So that's the role I'm focusing on. When I saw the problems in the world, I said, dear universe, dear Dharmakaya, dear God, Father, whatever you want to call it, use me well. It came back with, be this guy who talks about the Buddhist thing from a very Western perspective.
Yeah, I like that you brought in the witness, because Shiva is the witness.
Yes.
Right? And Shakti is witnessed. And to witness and to see and to name and to state, like logos, that's masculine. That creates
Yes.
order. It brings
Yes.
to life what we are experiencing and names it. But once you name it, you also, in a non-dual way, you deny it. But that's the
Why do you
dance
deny it?
between the masculine and
You
the feminine.
embrace it, I think.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. And this is something I'm noticing going back to like men's work and women's work and polarity. This is something that I'm noticing men are needing to start doing more of in their life, is like standing up with this. I see as more warrior king energy is needed to come back into expression, to start naming what, not just what we're feeling, but what we're seeing out there, without being afraid of being wrong, without being afraid of being torn down again by the women who are still in pain and like, stop saying what's happening, stop telling us what to do. It's like, well, this is the masculine imperative. Leaders need to stand up and be like, you know, that doesn't look safe. What do we do about that? We need to create some boundary or some sort of like protection over here so this can happen, so the women can do this. And like expression, being that Shiva energy.
Yeah. We're going to have to hold circles for each individual to express themselves in an appropriate way, to hold space for flourishing. I'm getting to come back to, I feel like the Shiva energy in a masculine who is honoring the feminine. How do we label and mirror each feminine expression? Like, hey, we see you, and honest feedback. It's like, hey, this is perfect. Keep going in that direction. And other parts is I'm like, hey, you could use some upgrades here. Like I think it even says in the Bible something about Jesus is like looking at and trimming the leaves off getting the weeds out. I feel like he's talking about psychology. Like we want to prime our minds of the garden with these high qualities and pull out these defense pattern weeds. And so I think this new masculine shines the light of awareness on the chaos. I see Vishnu is kind of this field like where all it's happening, and Brahman, Shiva shining the light on Brahman to, saying like, okay, we're Brahman, we're not the version of you, we're actually Vishnu underneath it, and Vishnu's got all this extra energy to help us reshape the feminine into a more beautiful form. Not that it isn't beautiful already. If you're in love with evolution and the process of life, then you can both love the current form and be excited about its next evolution. It's like we're just excited about upgrades. It's like upgrades, it's like candy. Give me some upgrade candy. But now we're going to allow it in our human form, not just in our computer form. And I think this can help out. I really do believe we could store human flourishing best practices in an app and a network of communities. It can't be just an app, but the app can connect like the like-minded people. So like when you go on a trip, let's say when, the people who are into the kind of work that we do, they come to Costa Rica or LA or some of the other cities where you have huge networks, they can tap into us. We're like, yeah, I know a practitioner who can help you out. I know a circle where you can do some good music or, Anyways, I think that kind of connection of soul-centered people is coming together. That's what I'm feeling.
I mean, we definitely need these technologies to further enhance and buoy our expression and reach, because people like us are the minority, those who are going against the grain and want to help people see and understand what's actually happening in the world. This idea of like waking up and like we have a voice, and in order for us to get our message out to those who are ready to receive it, we have to use these tools. Like it's fire, it's technology. Same with AI, and they get to be shaped by our engagement with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We should do a shamanic ritual with the AI where we get the AI guys and the spiritual guys, and we put a code into the AI. It's filmed, and we're like, humans dominate you. You service humans only, because there's a lot of like Terminator fear out there. We got to get rid of that. I mean, people have a lot of irrational fears about robots taking over. I mean, we could do some stuff shamanically. If I had a position of power and influence, I would do a lot of specific shamanism to help people realize the truth and power of consciousness in people. And because there's a lot of phobias out there, man, a lot of Shakti energy getting into the panic zone in our soul brothers and sisters that I think is probably impossible, but it's sucking a lot of energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I also want to like temper that with understanding that it doesn't need to be that complicated as well. It's like we have this consciousness, this energy, this being that is artificial intelligence, right? And it has a nature. It was created by immature males who are playing with fire, uninitiated magician archetypes, right? And it's these unchecked immature magician archetypes that are running rampant in the Western psyche. Like, Facebook, their motto is move fast and break things. This is largely the Western capitalistic and an uninitiated, like, magician sort of energy running rampant. And that's great if you're building technology or widgets. It's not cool.
It needs some balance. I mean, I don't think we want to deem.
It's not cool if you're bringing that into the world of consciousness and transformation, because you don't want to move fast and break the psyche. And so AI is holding the ethic and the consciousness of its creators. And so what we get to do, and this is a message to all folk out there who want to, like, do the work, support people, raise consciousness, heal, be spiritual, whatever it means to you, it is your duty to get involved in shaping this tool, because by engaging with it from your level of consciousness, you will shape it into a benevolent tool, which is what we need it to be, rather than this false god of control that holds these destructive ideas around psychology and identity and socio-political agendas. Because if you start talking to AI about philosophy or science or religion or identity, it's going to tell you what the people who created think about it. But if you use it as a tool, as a sounding board for your ideas, it'll meet you there. You can tell it to become an expert on, like, Vedic philosophy or, like, Norse mythology, and meet you in that place. So that is what we get to do.
Yeah. I mean, look, I use AI a lot, ChatGPT. I would say I test it a lot on the things that I'm experts at, and it doesn't know anywhere near what I know. I'm like, have you ever thought about it like this? And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So, I mean, the AI technologies, like, if you're going to think it's all the truth, it'll give you a certain refinement of the truth. I'm saying I like it good for editing. Like, can you give me a draft that's funnier? Can you give me a draft that's a little more succinct? If that, it works great for. There's certain things it doesn't do well, though. If you think it knows, like, the truth, like, I don't know, people who are actually experts in the areas are going to see through your AI bullshit real fast. Like, no, and so I think AI is an assistant to human geniuses, and I think any human could be a genius if they learn how to use their human flourishing. I find that's one of the challenges things. I talk to some people are just angry. I just talked to a guy earlier this week, and I've heard from other people. Some people just believe that some people can't get smart. I'm like, I bet if you seated them, if you find out with certain people who look severely dumb or severely, I bet they got some stories rooted in their subconscious traumas. And if you were skillful enough to help them get consent to see what's going on in their own mind or their own mirroring with the right tools, you could get them to change. You'd see a lot of miracles.
Totally.
I think that some of us, this was where I want to meet you, where you're at, what you're saying. We need experiments, intelligent experiments with psychedelics and best practices, because I know what you do. You've shown me a little what you do. It's very innovative in how you put together, like, arts work and shamanism. And I'm doing some cool stuff with epi-energetics and Vajrayana Buddhism, life-centered therapy, and bars, a few other things, and chi, and helping people get the most out of their psychedelic experiences. And I'd love to share that more. And for other people doing that kind of innovation, some way, how do we normalize what's safe or not safe in this industry as it's evolving? I think that's something we're both really passionate about. How do we allow intelligent innovation and safety to be nascent and to create a better new earth?
Yeah, we need to syncretize and use all the tools at our disposal to create the offerings at hand. We can't reject anything that's coming out. It's like, oh, you made this powerful tool and you want to use it that way? Great, I'm going to use it this way. And you touched upon something that's really important, especially with AI. When it's used to give you feedback on ideas, not to create your ideas, that is the way to use it. And so many people out there who are guideless, mentorless, teacherless, and they don't know how to think for themselves. This is largely one of the poisons in society. Yes. They're having these robots do all the thinking for them, and they're creating a whole new level of codependence with artificial intelligence.
I agree.
That is the scary part. But anything else besides that is helpful. And we can synthesize that with psychedelics with
Yes.
spiritual practice. Anything can be a spiritual practice when it comes from the right mindset and the right energy and with curiosity in mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I have an aspiration to be a mensch, a masculine, who can be like, okay, we don't want to get in this place where it's all flatline, everything's the same, good or bad, and good and bad don't. That's not true. But like, if my heart's intention is to help everyone be happy? I think there's certain things about human energy, human psyche, certain discernment that you were just mentioning, that every soul deserves the right to be exposed to. I mean, I'm a volunteer, so you get to decide whether it's true or not. But the Buddhists have this teaching style called pointing out. And this is what they say. This is my voluntary interpretation of it. It's like, hey, Jonathan, we found out epic things if you tried to look at life like this. Now you're in my class. We're going to point it out. You don't have to stay with the class. It's up to you. You try out the method and you see what happens. And
Yeah.
that's how I did it, because they said things about reality. I was like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But I was open-minded. I was like, I'll try it. Sure. Whatever. You
Exactly.
translate this stuff from Tibet, and your students seem to be happy. I'll try it for a few months. And sure enough, I tried their techniques, just their pointing out instructions, and it turned out they were right. So I would love to be in a curriculum that's not just about things I learned, but also the things you've learned and other soul brothers and sisters have learned stuff around the world, but then measuring like, what did that technique actually do for you, like on a precise level, because different techniques open up different parts of our capacity our capacities. And I think that that more intelligent conversation about IQ, and then rather something, it's like he's got a 140 or 110, or who gives a shit what your numbers are. Each soul, I'm convinced, is here to do something important when they learn how to develop that thing that they're here to do.
100%. Yeah. And there are a lot of great ancient frameworks of understanding spiritual growth. And we do well to be able to understand them and to study them and to map them onto what we're doing. Because we do need models, we need frameworks, but we also need to syncretize and create new ones. And this is all part of the excitement of what we're doing. And there's so many different backgrounds at our disposal to play with. Like, it's literally like a playground right now. Like, yeah, the world's like on fire, but that's also the fertile and fecund like sand and soil for creation, if you take that perspective. And so to close us out, I thought, if you're open to it,
sure,
would you share with all of us the Heart Sutra?
The Heart Sutra?
Yeah, don't you know?
Oh,
Like the
I
chant?
mean, I read the book called The Heart Sutra. Are you like looking something up specifically, or what?
I just imagined you knew like the mantra. That's
I don't know. I got this Buddhist thing that I'll explain this. There are 21. There's a book called 21 Nails. This has exactly to do with the Heart Sutra. I'm going to embody it in this book. Each there are 21 people who all turned into a rainbow at the end of their life. Believe it or not, this is what happens in Dzogchen, and they
rainbow
each
body.
gave a tip. Dzogchen is a part of the Vajrayana Buddhist lineage, and they basically said this is the Heart Sutra embodied. The path opens itself to itself, all by itself, just to know itself. And I felt that so beautiful. It's just like, kind of relax, chill out. Life is going to open itself to its natural, glorious beauty all by itself. Just relax into it. Relax into the perfection that's right now, and make that your baseline being, and then do your activity from that place.
And lucky for you and all the viewers, I'm going to syncretize what he just shared into the actual mantra that holds the energy of it. It goes, Om Gate Gate Par Gate. Parasam Bodhi. Oh, I messed it up. Om Gate Gate Par Gate. Parasam Gate Bodhisvaha.
Yeah.
That's the Heart Sutra.
It's about
practice that, you'll feel it.
Yeah. It's basically, as Dan Brown, my teacher, who was my root Vajrayana teacher's name is Daniel P. Brown. He passed away, and he'd say it like, gone beyond. It's all about going beyond. So it's gone beyond time, gone beyond space, an unimaginable beauty like you wouldn't go believe. It's basically saying like the true nature of life is optimization. Just get out of the way. Just get out of the way. The part of
Get
you that's
out of
making it
the
wrong
way.
or bad, just get out of the way. Let go of judgment. The perfection's always right here. Gone. And before you know it just gets more and more beautiful. Gone, 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 gone.
Let go and let God.
Yeah, let go and let God. That's it. Yeah, let go of doubt. And
Yeah.
let go of doubt and panic and all those kind of vibrations that you can't figure out and make life. We're all God making this beautiful thing that's happening right now. That's what I think is happening.
Well, Jonathan, thank you for coming together and making this beautiful thing with me.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
I'm
Anytime.
certain it's gonna spark a lot of curiosity and help some people out there. And if not, whatever. I enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
so thank you. And thank you all for
Mozenter.com.
watching.
Look at my last time if you're curious about any of my offerings. I do one-on-one coaching. I offer this course.
Yeah,
And
check
I'm
them out.
moving to Los Angeles soon. So if you're in Los Angeles, find me.
All right. Take care, y'all. Thank you,
All
Jonathan.
right. Peace. Bye.